Okay, let's get into Iran. So Trump, JD Vance, and Rubio were all out making the rounds today, and we got a lot of insight from them, honestly, on why the Iran strikes happened and what to expect going forward. And so here, let's play a couple clips here. So here's Trump. Listen to what Trump had to say on this real quick.
Following our obliteration of Iran's nuclear program in Operation Midnight Hammer a short while ago, we warned Iran not to make any attempt to rebuild at a different location because they were unable to use the ones that we so powerfully blew up. But they ignored those warnings and refused to cease their pursuit of nuclear weapons.
So Trump telling us that they were rebuilding and they were trying to get them to stop. Now, well, wait, we'll get to it in a moment. Here's JD, and this is what MAGA needs to hear. Okay, and when JD says this, I believe him. I do, because everybody who says Trump's inconsistent and he's actually a deep-seated neocon warmonger, Israel controlled president, just like Bush, just like Obama, just like Clinton, just like Bush one. Anytime somebody says that, they're completely ignoring the fact that Trump has been 100% consistent this whole time. You go back to 2012, 2011, 1987, we have clips of Trump saying Iran needs to be dealt with. This has been on Trump's mind for 40 years. It has been in front of him, calling it out on X, Twitter back then, since he first got involved with politics back in 2012. Okay, he has been nothing but consistent in his campaigns. I played the clips last night. He said, bomb the crap out of them. He's been crazy consistent on Iran. So it's a complete lie that Trump lied to us. JD Vance himself said it would be a good thing if Israel attacked Iran first and cleaned up the mess. Okay, he said that before being elected. So these guys are not inconsistent. It's a lie. And what they've shown us in this consistency is that they have done operation after operation and never had boots on the ground, especially not in an elongated, prolonged war kind of way. We're not going to see that, folks. That's where they are consistent. I fully believe that if Iran, they come up with some secret crazy thing that shocks us and would get us stuck, Trump will find a way out. He'll say our mission's been accomplished. The people didn't step up. It's not our job to oversee this change. He won't do it. I really believe that. Now listen to JD, and to me, this is exactly what we need to hear. And they're going on record with this. Tells me that we don't have to worry.
After Iraq and Afghanistan, some people say, oh, here we go again. Is that something here you're thinking about?
Well, Jesse, if you think back to Afghanistan, 20 years of mission creep, 20 years of not having a clear objective, and 20 years of the United States trying to bring liberal democracy to Afghanistan. Iraq was a little bit shorter, but we were still in that country for nearly a decade with no clear mission, no clear definition. What's so different about this, Jesse, is that the president has clearly defined what he wants to accomplish. And there's just no way, I said this before the conflict started, I'll repeat it again, there's just no way that Donald Trump is going to allow this country to get into a multi-year conflict with no clear end in sight and no clear objective. What is different about President Trump, and it's frankly different about both Republicans and Democrats of the past, is that he's not going to let his country go to war unless there's a clearly defined objective. He's defined that objective as Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon and has to commit long-term to never trying to rebuild their nuclear capability. It's pretty clear. It's pretty simple. And I think that means that we're not going to get into the problems that we've had with Iraq and Afghanistan.
Okay, did you hear exactly what he said? We don't have to worry about this. He said we would not even do this if there wasn't a clear objective. Clear objective means they have an end game. They know exactly what they're doing, exactly what they need to do to get out. This never happened. This didn't happen in Vietnam. This didn't happen in Iraq, Afghanistan. This is kind of new to us, this generation who, we didn't live through World War II. We didn't see the last time we truly were in a successful war. that we could be proud of as Americans. We haven't seen this. So now we have a clear objective, and he's telling us, no boots on the ground. We're not getting involved here. This will not be a forever war. I really believe that. You know, Trump knows the art of the deal. What's the art of the deal? Well, there's a lot of factors. He wrote a whole book about it. It's a great book, by the way. It's very fun to read. It's very interesting. One of the art of the deal is you do the big ask, right? You do the big ask, and then you accept what you actually wanted. That's one part. Another part of the art of the deal is you under-promise and over-deliver. That's constant. Every good marketer knows that. Every good businessman knows that. So Trump, what's he been out there saying? He's been saying we're looking at 4 to 5 weeks, but we are ahead of schedule. He's been saying that over and over again. So what does that mean? It means I personally believe this could be over in 10 days. Will it be? I don't know. I'm not promising that. I am saying that it wouldn't shock me. But even if it's not over in 10 days, even if it takes a month, and they wipe out all of Iran's military, the people feel safe to come in, take over their country, and we leave it with a relatively stable country and some guarantees. We won't let terrorists go in there. We'll bomb the snot out of them if they try to take it over. Israel's watching it. If we can leave that and they start rebuilding in that situation, kind of like what we did in Venezuela. I know it's not completely the same, but similar. We leave it, and this goes down as one of the greatest military operations in history. It really does. So I believe Trump is under-promising right now, and he's only giving us hints as to what we'll see. Now, JD had more to say. Here's JD breaking down their objective he was speaking of.
You saw evidence that they were still trying to enrich?
Not just that they're trying to enrich, Jesse, and this is one of the almost comical elements of the diplomacy that we've been engaged in for the past month, the past year, I should say. You know, Steve Witkoff, Marco Rubio, Jared Kushner, they did such a good job, such a deliberate job. But the Iranians would come back to us, Jesse, and they'd say, well, you know, having enrichment for civilian purposes, for energy purposes, is a matter of national pride. And so we would say, okay, that's interesting, but why are you building your enrichment facilities 70 feet underground? And why are you enriching to a level that's way beyond civilian enrichment and is only useful if your goal is to build a nuclear bomb? Nobody objects to the Iranians being able to build, you know, medical isotopes. The objection is these enrichment facilities that are only useful for building a nuclear weapon. Even some international organizations that usually don't agree with the United States were very clear that Iran's only purpose in building these underground, highly enriched facilities was to build a nuclear weapon. It just doesn't pass the smell test for you to say that you want enrichment for like medical isotopes, while at the same time trying to build the facility 70, 80 feet underground.
Yeah,
Okay, so we made the strikes last year. Trump goes, mission accomplished. We took out their nuke sites, blah, blah, blah. What I'm beginning to believe more and more is that, A, we did take out their initial, we set them back. But what it's really starting to look like is that was kind of like the warning to see what they would do. It was an opportunity for Iran to back off. It was a warning shot. That's what last summer really was. And Trump, Vance is notoriously the most anti-war out of the entire cabinet. So the word is constantly that Vance is always saying, hey, let's slow down. Let's think about this. And Trump respects him and listens to him. Vance and Rubio are best friends. So when they finally move forward with it, and Vance is satisfied, that they're all on the same page and they got to have good reasons for it. What I believe last summer was them knocking out the beginning and saying, okay, Iran, you have a choice now. Let's see what the people do if they start rising up. Let's see if the Ayatollah and his people, they start backing down. They start saying, okay, we're not going to mess with this. This is too scary. Let's give them some time. This was Trump being diplomatic. And it doesn't shock me that they were working with them nonstop. The other thing is it bought us time to weed out sleeper cells here, to eliminate the illegals, to get rid of those who are the most dangerous that we've been tracking, trying to find. The Trump administration, they came in, the Biden administration left a mess. So it took a while to clean up that mess. It took a while to figure it all out, and they got them. The FBI, the DOJ were singularly focused on weeding all that out along with the deportation. So using DHS as well. They're wiping them out. It says, make sure Americans were safe. Now, the State of the Union was the speech. Why was Trump so confident at the State of the Union? After all he's been through, sagging poll numbers, some issues, why was he so confident? Why did he feel so good? Why was he so measured and not angry, not like the kind of like frustrated Trump we sometimes see? Because in my belief, the State of the Union was the go signal. It was the Democrats' last chance to be like, are you with us? Because this operation's moving. I really think that's what just happened. And Trump, in front of the entire nation, in one majestic, masterful moment, showed that the Democrats are not coming along for the ride. They are not going to flip sides. They are not going to come to the side of what's right. He gave them the chance. He made the entire nation watch them make their choice. And as soon as they were done, as soon as the State of the Union was over, it was go time. And what we do? Operation going after Iran 4 days later, which is, in my opinion, the last major foreign operation militarily that has to happen to decapitate the deep state. Because after, at least in a broad way, we're all seeing it. It looks like war. Okay. I really believe that. I do. I think that what we're seeing is Trump is ending the oil that the UK direct pipeline to oil. They're making it harder for China. UK still had an embassy in Iran. Why the hell would you have an embassy in Iran? This awful, awful place. Makes no sense unless there's some deeper connections there. And as I covered the other night, yeah, those connections go back over 100 years, 120 or 118 years to be exact. This is all part of it. This is all part of ending. Like, Trump has been slowly breaking off each arm of City of London, the cabal, breaking arm after arm. And so they're getting weaker and weaker and weaker. And now I think he's finally got it condensed to Europe pretty much. Because we're not going to go to a war with India. That would be the next big thing. India is going to be a different animal. But China is its own thing. Enemy, but not the big enemy right now. It's the cabal. And this is it. This is why UK was one of the last places to jump on board. EU, not happy about this. Trump didn't consult NATO on this. Didn't consult the UN. Didn't consult Congress. Just told them we're doing it. This was a full go operation completely apart from the deep state.